Tyler Herro is one of the best young stars in the NBA, but in high school he has a crazy story and was one of the most hated players of all time. When you look at Tyler Herro, you don't really see him as a villain or someone that people would hate. And currently right now, he's a player that a lot of people are tending to like. But however, even though things are looking really great for him now, they weren't always this good. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. You guys already know, to get into this guy's story, we gotta throw it all the way back to where things started. Tyler Herro was born on January 20th in 2000. And as he was growing up and all throughout his life, he was a really good player. But going into his junior and senior season, this is when he really came onto the scene. In his senior season, he averaged a remarkable 32.9 points per game. And overall, he had a pretty solid game because he also pitched in 7.4 rebounds and 3.6 assists. One more stat I want to throw in there is that he did average 3.3 steals per game, which is pretty good as well. And he was putting up these numbers at a very efficient rate. As a senior, he shot 50% from the field and over 43% from behind the arc. To shoot 43% behind the 3-point line, that's pretty good for a high school player. With all those numbers being said, you would think he had a pretty great senior season and it was a breeze for him and everybody loved him. But if you're thinking that, you would also be wrong. His senior season was literally a living nightmare and it was extremely rough on him. I have never seen a high school kid receive this much hate ever in my life. Let's waste no time and let's get straight into it. Before I start talking about all the hate he received, I gotta give you guys the backstory as to why he received all this hate. He's from Wisconsin and originally that's where he committed to play his college basketball at. But then out of nowhere, he surprised everyone and decommitted from Wisconsin and decided to commit and sign with Kentucky. We see that all the time though, a lot of players change their minds, so you wouldn't think this was a big deal. But that was not the case whatsoever and Wisconsin fans everywhere were extremely pissed. Shortly after he made his decision to decommit from Wisconsin, his family woke up around 9:30 a.m. And when his family looked outside, everywhere on the ground there was red spray paint. It was on the side of the yard, on the grass, and even on the tree branches. It doesn't just stop there, the entire yard was rolled and people even egged his house. And it really doesn't matter, but they even spray painted the toilet paper red, which is just strange. And on the ground, this is what they spray painted too. FBBN, go Wisconsin. And this wasn't like a joke from some middle school kids, these were actually grown men and actually pissed off fans. And the crazy thing about this was his hometown fans, not even from opposing teams. Now if you ask me, that's pretty crazy, and I wish I could stop there, but there's way more. There were even handwritten letters that were delivered to Tyler Herro's high school. And although they were delivered to the high school, they were made out to Tyler Herro and his coach. And I'm not going to read off every letter, but I'm going to just tell you what one of them said. You guys get the gist of it, all of them were basically saying the same thing, but this one letter in particular was crazy. A man said he hoped that Herro injured his leg the way Gordon Hayward did and never played again. A grown man said that about a kid in high school, come on now. And this is all because he just decided to decommit from Wisconsin and go to Kentucky. I don't know too much about Wisconsin and the state and how big they are in basketball, but I guess they take it very seriously. But here's the thing, he's not obligated to go anywhere, he's a kid, he should be able to choose where he go and not receive any consequences. I don't know, that's just how I feel, but obviously people do not think the same way. And if that wasn't enough for you, just listen to this. Right after people started sending letters to his school, he then received death threats. It started out in online, but then everywhere he went in person, people were saying death threats. There was one time Tyler Herro was pumping gas into his Chevy Malibu at the BP gas station and someone walked up to him. And in an interview, Tyler said he thought it was a fan or something. This guy wasn't a fan at all though. This is what he said to Tyler Herro. Quote unquote, I hope you get hit by a truck. So I know what you're thinking, what did Tyler Herro do? He was only 18 years old at the time, what was he supposed to do? Tyler said all he did was laugh and shrug it off. I mean, like I said, what else can he do? That is just crazy, guys. Imagine someone walking up to you and saying, I hope you get hit by a truck, and then walking away. And once again, I wish I could say it stopped there, but there's even more. His car was egged so much, it became a routine thing. And then once people realized he didn't care about his car getting egged, they then egged his front door and his garage. And then if eggs weren't enough, they then started throwing tomatoes at his dad's truck. It started getting so bad that his mother wouldn't even let him go out and eat with friends because she was scared someone would physically hurt him. I know I cover a lot of stories and I say this occasionally, but this is really one of the craziest stories I've ever done. And it's all because he just wanted to go to Kentucky. Like, what is going on? And we're just getting started. We have a long way to go. All this stuff I'm talking about is what happened off the court. What happened when he went to the games was just as crazy. At every game he went to, fans would bring stuffed animal snakes to all the games because they were calling him a snake. And And then to top that off, they would bring poster boards of snakes with Tyler Herro's face on them. And then if that wasn't enough, they would bring signs that were calling him a backstabber and a traitor. But that really didn't slow him down or affect him too much because like I stated, he averaged 30 a game. But here's something I want you guys to keep in mind. He wasn't just receiving hate from opposing fans, he was receiving hate from his own hometown fans. It's hard enough to deal with hate from opposing fans, but imagine doing it from opposing fans and your own fans. That's ridiculous. But honestly, I don't think it was great, but it also prepared Tyler to get ready for the next level, so it might have helped him a little. Now here's where our story really starts to get interesting. When Tyler was growing up, he was really regarded as the hometown hero and he was going to put his state and city on the map. But when his own hometown fans started him, his friends told him to embrace the role as the villain. And that's exactly what he did. He started to embrace that role and thrive in the situation. There was one time a guy was guarding Tyler in high school and he had a step back jumper in his face and he looked at him and said, quote unquote, "You hate me now?" And he turned around and grinned the whole way down and stared down the opposing bench. And he was always a quiet kid, but once he turned into that villain role, he started to speak his mind. After he hit that step back jumper, he looked at the opposing team's coach and said this: "You better sub in somebody who can stop me. I'm going to make you hate me even more." And as we continue on with this video, I just want to say I love how Tyler Herro took the role as the villain. And it's not like he was mad about it, he was actually really happy about it and he started to even like it. Even though getting egged, getting tomatoes thrown at you, the death threats and having snakes at your games isn't the ideal situation, it actually prepared Tyler for the next level. When he went to Kentucky and had to prepare for hard road games, he was actually ready for all the hate he was going to receive at opposing arenas. And hey, maybe that's what made him so poised and clutch in tough moments. And here's what Tyler had to say himself about that: "I play better in those situations. I like it when people are against me." He also later added this in an interview: "Pretty much whoever I'm going against, I feel like I'm just gonna kill him." And here's the thing, when he was a sophomore and junior in high school, he wouldn't dare say that. But like I said, it's just the hate he received from his hometown made him into who he is today. You've probably picked up on it by now. He's not shy anymore and he kind of talks a little trash. And when he's on the court, he lets you know that he's not scared of you and he's gonna take on any battle. When he was in college, he was playing against Arkansas and there was a player talking smack to him on Arkansas's team. Herro then proceeded to make a clutch shot and yelled out, "I'm a bucket." There's so many stories I could tell you guys and they're very interesting. Of course, I can't fit them all in this one video, but I'm just trying to touch the main points. Another incident in college was that he hit a crazy good shot and then he winked at the other team's player who he hit it on. So I think we can all agree, he has that swagger that every guy wants to have on the court. But him having that quote unquote swagger didn't just develop out of nowhere, he's had it his entire life. When he was in only 3rd grade, he wouldn't challenge other kids in 3rd grade to games, he would challenge the teacher. And here's what his teacher had to say about that: "That just let me know he wasn't going to back down from anybody." You may say Herro is cocky or arrogant, but I don't think he is, he's just confident. And here's what one of Tyler's teammates had to say about him: "When he has a bad practice, he's devastated, he's sick when he plays bad games." Also later adding, "He wants to prove to people that I'm one of the guys you should have been talking about and I'm one of the best in the game." And here's what Coach Calipari had to say about him at Kentucky: "He's absolutely engaged every moment he's on the court, which means you can trust him. We got some other guys that aren't engaged all the time. When they're tired, they just stop. He does not stop." And one thing you guys didn't know about Tyler Herro is that he's an extremely hard worker. A lot of times we see these great high school players, college, or even NBA players and we think they're just talented, but no, they actually work really hard. We just don't see that. Tyler's dad used to work him out and push him all the time when he was younger. And here's what Herro had to say about his dad: "He used to push me so hard, he'd never tell me good game or anything." Also later adding, "That's what kind of made me, those hard times." Tyler also later stated that they were painful times, but they turned him into the man he is today. And his dad did admit, quote unquote, "I was tough on him. I wholeheartedly believe he's mentally strong because of it." And we gotta give props to his dad. If he wasn't tough on him, he probably wouldn't even be in the NBA today. So I know you're sitting there thinking, oh, he didn't receive that much hate in college, it just happened in high school. Well, you're also wrong there again. For some reason, he still received hate in college, but it was more on the Twitter side and on social media. And here's what someone had to say about him on Twitter: "I hope Tyler Herro blows his knee out, has surgery, gets an infection, and has to do a blood transfusion. Gets AIDS from the blood transfusion, realizes he's going to die a slow death, then get hit by a bus, but only gets mangled and dies slowly as AIDS infect cripple." What? I don't even have nothing to say about that. We're just gonna continue on. Here's what his mom had to say about the hate he even received in college: "The way people wish harm upon him is mind-boggling to me." And one of his other coaches stated this about him: "He can't be broken, he just knows what his abilities are." We're not here to talk about how good he is at basketball because we all know this kid can hoop. Once he got out of Kentucky and made it to the NBA though, the hate really started to die off slowly. Of course he's gonna receive some hate, but it's not as bad as it was in high school. And honestly, I'm saying this without a doubt in my mind. This is the most hated guy in high school basketball history and it's not even close. But hey, maybe the hate helped him and fueled his motivation and drive to get to the top. I really think it did, and I think that people people hated on him in high school, I bet they're really regretting it now. And I'm wishing Tyler Herro and his family the best of luck, and I hope he continues to succeed in his basketball career. If anyone deserves it, it's definitely him because he's been through a lot. Tyler Herro was an outstanding player in high school, but he made a decision that made everyone in his hometown hate him. But when we look back on it, maybe the help actually helped him to get to where he is today. But hey man, with all this being said, that's about gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. And this video was requested by a ton of you guys, so I do listen to the recommendations. So yeah, I hope you like it. But yeah man, like I said, that's about gonna wrap up this video. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.